What is up, everyone? Hello, hello. Hola, bonjour. I hope everyone's having a good week so far. Thursday! Whoa! First Thursday of the year? Nice. You guys got your schedules lined out? Did you get your car washed? You get in the routine? Work? School? Keep at it? Yeah, there you go. Nail hammer. Building a bridge today? There you go. There's a lot that you could have got done today, but don't feel bad if you didn't do any of that. Are you happy? Are you trying to make the world a better and safer place? Those are some good priorities to keep in mind. Usually, hopefully together, because sometimes being happy could be at the expense of someone else. You know, you gotta tame that selfishness. You know? Well, for you, yeah, for you it's Friday. It's still Thursday for us over here. No. All right, let me see. There he is. Speaking of Friday, excuse me, TRK, it's already Friday for you. TRK, aren't you back in school? What are you doing here, TRK? Are those your test scores? Okay, if those are your test scores, welcome. Your next answer is very important, TRK. And I don't mean for the test scores, but you know, that too. Oh yeah, we did not get snow either. In the middle of the United States, we did not get snow. Like overall. Okay, TRK, you got a few days off. Okay. Okay. Yeah, Kerberos Pro? Are you Wait, you're already back in school? Did you get your pencils? You got your pens? Make sure, you know, red and black. That's at least what we do in the US, you know. I did have classes growing up where they're like, you need red and black pens. It's like, dang. I'm not trying to mock them. That was just sometimes the class criteria. There you go. February, wow. I'll play Spy a little bit later. He's definitely in my top 3. I mean, I like them all, but yeah, my top 3 favorite classes are Pyro, Engineer, and Spy. This weekend, yes, TRK. Learning music theory. Okay, right. Music theory's good. Wow, TRK is an advocate of YouTube. Huh? Oh wow, shot.
Mission begins in 60 seconds. Prepare to defend our control points.
Nice.
Mission begins in 60 seconds. Prepare to defend our control points.
We best get off the city. Teleporter coming right up.
Mission begins in 30 seconds.
Sentry, plant yourself on that darn point, mister. Teleporter coming right up. Dispenser going up.
10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
That's right. Oh, nice. Good sap.
Alert. The control point is being contested.
Sentry going up. Teleporter down. Dispenser going up. Sentry down.
Oh, hey.
Control point is being captured. You failed.
Nice. You can tell me what it is. I haven't seen it yet. Yeah, you can tell me. It's alright. Crystal?
Mission begins in 30 seconds.
Yeah, what is Goemon? Okay. I mean, I guess I could just look it up after this match.
Mission begins in 10
Interesting. And Banjo-Kazooie? Oh, wow. I'm guessing they obviously used they used Ultimate Banjo-Kazooie as a big template. And that just helps them a lot in terms of frame data and stuff. Ooh, yeah, nice. Good jump. Nice. Okay, so Goemon. Alright, that's the first one I'll look at. Goemon. Oh, whoops. Like, 64? Oh, yeah, that guy, the mystical ninja guy, yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah, I never played that game. I recognize the cover, because, you know, going to Blockbuster growing up, stuff like that. Okay, I need to go get those medics. Oh, hey.
Alert. The control point is being captured.
Nice. Yeah, I'm gonna try Kunai Deadringer stock.
Alert. Our last control point is being captured.
Nice. Good. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I was like, I think there is a health pack there, so I was definitely trying to race them to that. Good, and then ambush me with an arrow. Okay, and then this is... Oh, you're saying that's the character. Oh, so they added 2 characters. Okay, this guy. Oh, okay, okay. Got it, gotcha.
Alert. The final control point is being contested.
Yeah, I gotta... This is like this moment right here is like very crucial for a spy player. Like, you know, trying to go pick their medics now before they raid in with an Uber or 2. Ooh, good shot. Wow, that's really good. I was trying to save on some invisibility ammo, but yeah, if they're watching those sight lines, I'm probably gonna have to cloak early. I probably could have done that anyway, because we have a dispenser up, probably. So.
Alert. Our last control point is being captured.
Yeah, oh, I had Deadringer. Yeah. Nice. think this is a map. I know there's one of the Egypt spawns. I'm pretty sure you can build at the very end. Not this one though.
Let's get wrangling, cowboys.
Mission begins in 30 seconds.
Well, guess that'll do.
Mission begins in 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Nice.
Sentry going up. Sentry down. Building the Building a sentry. This here point's ours now. Building a dispenser going up.
Dragon King?
Sentry down.
I'm guessing that is a... Oh! Are you talking about... I mean, Dragon King. Not like the... Are they... That's... I'm thinking of like what Super Smash Bros. Originally was. Yeah, okay. Dragon King, yeah. That's funny. Also, it's funny that you asked Cameron who do you think will be announced. Yeah, I think Cameron is very... I think Cameron plays against a lot of the devs a lot. He's very... I mean, he's very humble. He's not going around really bragging about that, so... Yeah.
Attention. 5 minutes left.
Is he like an amalgamation character that has like a moveset amalgamation character that has like moves from a bunch of characters? Or they just make like crazy broken like martial arts moves? They might. I mean, the fact that they added that other guy from that Mystical Ninja game, that tells me two things. One, at least one of the devs there is like a hyper N64 fan, and two, they're really trying to push like the N64 games. I mean, because Mischief Maker is there too, and that's not a. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I think that's just an indicator. So I mean, Glover's chances are actually pretty high, like actually really high. Him and like what the chameleons from Chameleon Twist, I could see that. I mean, I know they're gonna probably add Bomberman, not just because he has two really good 64 games, but and it's also because he's been highly requested since like Brawl was announced, and then also like, you know, songs like Redial and Zip are very popular in the Smash Brothers community, so they're probably gonna have a Bomberman stage, and Redial's gonna be on there. Whoa. interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think they'll add Bomberman. He'll have a cool move set, and then the stage will have Redial. For sure. Now, yeah, Redial was in like a bunch of PM builds 10 years ago. That was literally like smash it, pew pew. Whoa, did you see that glitch? My gunslinger is my glove. But at smash it, pew pew, I remember Adam Barrett's main setup for the big CRT. It had like Redial on like Smashville. And I remember him saying he got a lot like the music from like the Xanadu builder, and you know they used Redial too. Yeah. Look at this. That's very interesting. Glover leaks. There's a lot of power going on here. Crits on the third hit. I mean, it makes you appreciate the lighting on his glove, like the lighting in TF2 in general. It's already good, but then you look at stuff like this, you know, players don't see the lighting on that much, so. Yeah, I actually, someone liked a tweet I made a while back today, but I'm glad someone else saw it, but I was like, I tagged Konami, and I was like, it's time to bring this back, and it literally was Redial. I was like, you guys still make Bomberman games, which is awesome, but I haven't heard Redial since N64, which is pretty nuts. And I'm a big Zip advocate. I think Zip is as good as Redial, and yes, we're about to play it for reference. But yeah, Redial was all over the place. Zip definitely was, I mean, it was in my build. Actually, no, not the early PM build. I didn't put Redial in there either. Now I think I'll play a little bit of this.
Phones were so different back in the day.
Yeah, from Singular and Nokia, and you know, Nokia. Whoa, Nokia's. That's not even a joke that they could be near indestructible. Alright, I gotta protect this heavy. They're eating a sandwich. There you go. Okay. Yeah, so Redial was in a bunch of PM builds. I'm trying to remember when... I'm a big Zip advocate, but I'm trying to remember... I remember like this playing on Fountain of Dreams, and I think it was me. I put Zip on Fountain of Dreams. I'm going through, but yeah. The fact that like this and Redial have not popped up in the series again is pretty nuts. Just like, I don't know about the whole OST, but yeah. It's a testament to the N64 compression forcing limitations, so it didn't, you know, it pushed for creativity. I actually like this form of music because it's like this technology limbo where it's a lot broader than an NES in terms of you can use samples. You can't do full-on recorded audio yet without it just like taking up all the memory. Yeah, I think they'll add, you know what, I think they're taking time with Bomberman because he's a pretty unique character, so they probably have to like code in some like specific properties. Obviously they're gonna take from Link, but they're gonna have a lot more bombs for sure. You know, I actually love Link's bombs in 64. Me and Michael talk about this all the time, but the way they did Link's bombs, like, we just love like just the sound design, because they sound so metallic. So when you chuck a bomb at someone and it doesn't explode, you just like chucked a piece of metal at someone's face. Also, the explosion sounds really loud, but it's great for, you know, that item. Glover guy. There you go. Glover fan. Vaporwave lover. Vaporwave before Vaporwave. That's the Atlantis levels for sure. Yeah, when they bring in Glover, I have a hunch they'll pick Atlantis as the stage. But I'm a little bit worried about that because I don't know if the devs are going to be watching, if Cameron's watching. Okay. It doesn't hurt the game, but you know when you become like a professional in a trade, you learn about how things work, and some people don't like, quote, ruining the magic for themselves, or they don't want other people to tell them how something's made. So, in the audio department, there are some songs in Smash Remix, I actually know the exact MIDI that they took from a library, and they didn't mix it. And I don't mean that as it sounds bad, it's more about the audio engineer in me wants to mix for them. I think there are some songs they poured over, like the melody's too loud, the balance is off, because it sounds like they took a MIDI. Because the 64 games and Super Nintendo games, there's MIDI data. You can actually rip that from a game, which is really cool, and then you could put it on Smash 64's instrument set. So there are times where I can pick up like, oh, yeah, this sounds like they dropped the MIDI in, which can work, but sometimes it's not mixed the best. And so, yeah, my inner audio engineer is like, ooh, I really want to help out there, because if they do Glover Atlantis and they don't mix that, oh no. Like, they're gonna port it to Smash 64. The reason, one of the big reasons Glover Atlantis works so well is the 64's compression just naturally helped mix it, which again made it like a Vaporwave song before Vaporwave. But if you port it to 64 Remix, that's an entire new instrument set, so you're gonna have to rebalance the tracking and the layers and stuff, the layering. I'll talk to Cameron about it. But you can't really, they want to have it played on hardware. That's the thing. There's only so much mixing you can do on a 64. That's kind of the other beauty of how some things turned out. You don't have Pro Tools for a 64 game. Oh my gosh. What a good song. People say like ahead of its time. This one really was. Because I would go to this level all the time growing up just to like, the environment was awesome and the music was good. And yeah, it was Vaporwave before Vaporwave, but you know what else helped with this? Some people love this aesthetic. Again, it's a limitation. You know that whole N64 PS1 draw distance thing, the fog? People love that. And Glover itself as a game had that big N64 draw distance fog, but I think it worked in its favor, so. Oh, hey. Oh gosh, I have to do it after this life. For the new people hearing this song, I gotta use the counter example because it's perfect. I'm not gonna play it for that long. Okay. And then, I love this irony, because Sony was all big about, well, our music uses way less uncompressed samples because it's on a CD. True. But you know what happened? Jack Harlow, No Place Like Tomorrow. That's what happened. No, it's and you can't, this is what I'm worried about in Smash Remix. You can't just drop the MIDI in. The N64 cartridge did good limitations in naturally compressing it, but now, now, okay, see, the drum samples, there you go, but you know what's funny is I like the drum samples in the 64 version more. Again, it's just that natural compression. Now see, that's pretty good too, but yeah, that melody, the melody is not... the melody is trying to be bold, but it's struggling to hold down on its own 2 feet. But in the 64 one, it's accompanied very well. It's definitely remixed. Which is just crazy to me because they could have just got a recorder. Yeah, we're going back. They could have just got a recorder and then took this and used the exact same version. Yeah, I mean, listen. Oh my gosh, listen to like the backtracking to this in comparison. Dude, that's the thing I loved about the last few years. Everyone's posting like we went from vaporwave to liminal spaces. And, you know, people are posting like the hotel, mall, fountain, pool areas. I always think about this song like all the time when I see memes like that. Like this tends to be one of the first songs that pop in my head. I mean, really, it's the default. This is the default song, just overall. It's just like. Right, and I love the meme just overall. If I owned a hotel, I'd have a playlist, and this would be on the playlist for the pool. Like, you got to. If I owned a mall, I'd play this at the mall. There you go. Well, if they do Glover cross Billy Hatcher, they got to bring this song back. That's your task, Lasagna. You talk to the Sega devs. It really is, and it literally is. And you know how people like to use the term "product of its time" sometimes as a negative term. This is a positive product of its time because, as you heard, even with the PS1 version, you gave them an inch of like expanded memory and audio technology, and it starts kind of falling apart a bit. But no, that N64 cartridge kept it compressed. Woo! If I was in charge of Glover 2, I'd play this song to the whole team. I'd be like, we're matching this aesthetic, which is literally, yeah, it's like, oh, we're gonna make more vaporwave. music, which, yeah, it works very well. Okay, okay, I like that. The accented E. L glove. The glove. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Was it Glover 98? There you go. People love that Windows 98. Ooh, they got that sightline down. Yeah, I need to play more conservatively and build battalions back up. Gee, lover. G's pretty cool, man. We just keep going. I'm gonna keep this tab open now. Okay, where is his? Hello, Alexis. We need the story one. This one's good too. Ooh, nice. Okay, we need because there is in the story mode they added like a layer. There it is. Here we go. Oh yeah. Okay. Oh, with Visa. Now you're building good credit. There you go. Ooh, good shot. What's up, Abel W? It's doing good. You know, we just started. We're talking about Nintendo 64. Talking about mixing good music. Why the mix is very important. It's as important as the original composition. But I hope you're having a good day. I gotta be careful on that right flank. That sniper has been holding down the sight lines. But I have to gauge the importance of building battalions back up. It actually could really swing the game. Because they're definitely gonna get ready for a big push soon. And battalions back up. Ooh. Yep. I extended a bit out of that flank. Okay, I still have some time to build it. That is actually a big Highlander strat with Soldier on defense. Is the one I saw recently, they were building Conch, but Battalion's backup works too. It's a very good counter Uber strategy. Oh, okay. Yeah, we play Street Fighter, Super Smash Brothers, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon Smogon, TCG, Team Fortress 2, we love Metroid, so welcome, welcome. Oh, I highly recommend it. I mean, yeah, it's a lot of fun. We play it every Thursday and Sunday. It is free to play. I highly recommend it. It really is. It has the DNA. It's an FPS game with the DNA of like a real-time strategy, like RPG, and even like a fighting game. It's really awesome because all 9 classes play so differently, and as you're seeing, we're all like working together to hold down this objective, and you like push your strengths to cover each other's weaknesses and stuff. It's really cool. So what what I'm doing is I'm building my meter to try to defend my team. It's not. The PC version is the only one that gets updated still. The console version, like on 360, stopped updating like well over a decade ago. But you can play on most modern computers, even ones that aren't labeled as like gaming computers or laptops. You should be able to play. I would definitely try. Whatever modern computer you have, I would try to just try it. You can use a controller. Our friend Ramen Noodles uses a controller. He uses like a Switch gyro controller, which is really cool.
Mission begins in 60 seconds.
Excuse me. So, I did. So I made Highlander back in 2015. Technically, Highlander was made back in like early 2004. If we're counting when like I had friends over like Brent Henderson and like Jonathan Hauer, and we didn't know how to play the actual card game. And so we would just get my cards and then build a team of 6, you know, with your bench and stuff, and use the attacks. And so that idea carried over into what Highlander is, where you can only run one of each fully evolved Pokemon. Now, Highlander itself became a format in 2015 when me, Ryan Green, Vance, and PJ Wallace, Vance Kelly, they came to my house 2015 and we started testing it that summer. We've been playing ever since, so... I've had people outside of the country now ask to play it. So it's there. I'm gonna make a tutorial video later this month about how to start your own Highlander cube. It is definitely a bit of an investment because you're gonna have to print off a lot of cards. But if you're at a university or if you have like an Office Depot, you can get that all done in like one go. And so like. That'll be covered in the video. But yeah, Highlander's been around since 2015. It gets updated every month. I'm about to release a big update this weekend. Our in-person tournaments are in Kansas City, which has helped out people because it's in the middle of the country. So we've had people come out from the West. We had TRK come out from the Netherlands. We encourage if you're in the community and you're driving cross country. Maybe we'll have an event at that time, But then we have an online monthly on Tabletop Simulator once a month, too. So they've both been fun. Just seeing people create decks and seeing all these different matchups. Nice. Good call. So... Yeah, if you have any questions, these broadcasts are perfect for that, or you can ask in the Discord too. Good stab. Good. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, well then, yeah, you're in Kansas City, so. Yeah, so we meet up once a month for monthly tournaments. Just keep your eyes peeled on the Discord for the next date coming up. They're always on a Saturday or Sunday. And then, I mean, you'll need to submit a deck list, but those are pretty easy to make thanks to like people helping out in the community. So basically what you need to do is just find a favorite Pokemon, and then we can help build a deck around it. Good shot. Oh, nice. Yeah. I could see that. You know, there's like dungeon dice monsters and stuff. Well, my thing, yeah, so Highlanders started because of, ironically didn't know how to play the game until 2006, but I collected since base set. But when I started making the cards in 2015, the motivation of that was I wanted to make iterations of each Pokemon that were designed to just be competently strong. Especially after Gen 4, there was this kind of like overall decline in like competency and like effort from the TCG team for like a lot of their cards. Not only because when Black and White came out, they just really simplified power creep and made HP like super high. They also got rid of a lot of options for Pokemon, and they also were pretty bad with their first turn rules. Yeah, they were pretty bad with the first turn rules, to the point that, you know, I went to the Nationals 2011 where they did the mid-rotation. That was not a good call on them to do that. And that's because, again, they were being incompetent with the first turn rules. All that happens, and they ironically corner themselves, because now if you want to sell stronger cards, you have to keep upping the HP. But if you want to make cards beat that HP, they have to do more damage. And because starting in Black and White, they overall made a lot of the Pokemon more easier to use, you lost a lot of those unique properties of them working for their KOs and just stuff like that. And so my motivation was to bring back that, what I consider the apex of Pokemon TCG, which was the 2010 format, Diamond and Pearl Platinum, you know, Gen 4, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, like that. Gen 4 was like, a lot of Pokemon had 3 option slots. They had to work for their damage. Like, you look at like Gyarados and Stormfront, you had to have Magikarps in your discard pile, or Tyranitar from Stormfront had to have a bunch of Dark Energy to do 30 spread. Torterra was a tank healer type Pokemon from Unleashed. But once Black and White came out, a lot of those archetypes like spread or mill or tanking kind of disappeared overall in terms of top level, which is like usage. So Highlander definitely, I know it's a good sign when I see a lot of these play styles pretty active in tournaments. So it's just, I was motivated because I knew Pokemon could continue to ride off of its momentum from 2010, but they kind of went another way. Well, so I play Yu-Gi-Oh every Wednesday. I actually like Yu-Gi-Oh's handling of power creep better, and that's because Yu-Gi-Oh doesn't rotate, and so I actually love that there are so many cards out there that can counterplay other cards. Now, is there power creep in Yu-Gi-Oh? Oh yeah, and I actually think that Yu-Gi-Oh's power creep apexed, like it literally, Yu-Gi-Oh's power creep peaked at, I don't know if it'll ever reach Red Eyes Dark Dragoon ever again. Ironically, I shouldn't even say ironically, thematically, I think the ultimate power creep card and symbolism was Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, this big Omni Negate monster that just dictated the entire game around him. And now even Konami was like, ooh, we probably shouldn't make something like that again. So talk about a power creep grand finale. Is it still power crept? Oh yeah, the game is very much like, oh, does your monster have a bunch of immunity? Can your deck search for a bunch of cards? If not, then, you know, you might be struggling staying afloat. But at least Yu-Gi-Oh again has a wide card pool, so there can be forms of compensation. The problem with Pokemon is they rotate pretty fast. Cards are only in circulation for like 3 years around that, and so, you know, if there is a over dominant card, it's going to be in there for at least 3 years, and people will say, oh well, then it'll rotate. It's like, yeah, but because of the way the new cards have to compete with those cards, again, they're like, oh, make the HP bigger, make the damage higher, you know, they're bottlenecked. At least with Yu-Gi-Oh, they can just make a ban list. And, you know, perhaps the criticisms could revolve around maybe Konami needs to be more strict with their ban list, or I think I trust the ban list. I do wonder, you know, there are those conspiracy theories about if a card is brand new, Konami doesn't want to put it on the ban list for at least 6 months. And that's like not even a conspiracy theorist. It actually could also just be like, we've seen it. Like, you remember Firewall Dragon? I mean, that is the dark magician of this era of Yu-Gi-Oh! So for Konami to say, oh yeah, we're gonna ban the dark magician of this era ASAP, they knew that would be like, uh-oh. Well, they were worried about the PR on that one, but they did eventually have to, like, errata Firewall Dragon, which is pretty funny. Yeah, so I mean, like I said, I learned, I've collected since base set, but I didn't learn to play the game until 2007, when the Diamond and Pearl and Platinum, or the Diamond and Pearl starter decks came out, because I was at my local league at the time. I was there for Yu-Gi-Oh, and I just remember one of the players was like, "Have you played the new Diamond and Pearl decks? They're amazing." I was like, "Wait, really?" They're like, "Yeah, they're like actually really good starter decks." I was like, "Oh, okay," and I got the Torterra one. So I definitely started in Gen 4, but to what you're saying, you know, all these years of playing against other players and playing retro formats and learning more about the game, Gen 2, tail end of Gen 2, and then Gen 3, I mean, Gen 2 and 3 really were setting the template for how good Gen 4 is. Like, because 2010 is praised as one of the best formats for Pokemon, but 2006 is as well. In fact, 2006 is like one of the only like rival contenders overall when people tend to like take polls or ask people what do you consider the best format, retro format, and it usually boils down to like 2010 versus 2006. And yeah, they were really, Gen 3 is when they were like, okay, we banned Sneasel and Slowking in Gen 2, so we know how not to go super strong. We know when we're getting too strong, but what's something that still can be fun? You know, we could sell cards, and you know they were experimenting with the EXs, because remember the first era of EXs, they just reprinted a bunch of base set cards like Hitmonchan and Mewtwo and made them give 2 prizes overall, because I think to them they were thinking like, oh yeah, Hitmonchan, Scyther, super strong, so is it balanced if we make him give 2 prizes? But at that time, you can tell that they weren't fully comprehending the overall power creep that was already happening for the other cards. But I appreciate them, excuse me, for trying that. So yeah, Gen 3 really did establish the groundworks for making Gen 4 thrive. And what I mean by that is, so if you go here, okay, so here's a classic Gen 3 card. Scroll down. So there's, you know, the Lightning Rayquaza Delta species. This guy, right? So he is... One thing to note here is not just the 3 option slots, but how distinct these are. So it's like, oh, look, bonuses if you have more prizes left. Speed Circuit, oh, look, this chooses a target. It does more damage if they have a power or a body. And then Sky High Claw is just straight damage. This is like the bread and butter, because later on, like I mentioned, you saw all these cards in the 2010 format in Diamond and Pearl Gen 4 that took that and they wanted to like diversify, like keep those diverse options. Now obviously with Gyarados decks were mainly just pushing Tail Revenge, but the design philosophy is still there, because you know, look how distinct these attacks are. And so the problem with Black and White, of course, is that they got rid of that, just overall. Now, Stephen Elmore and Vance Kelly have made good points recently about Sun and Moon kind of was dialing back to 2010 a bit, Gen 4, because of the GXs. The GXs had, like, their GX attacks, which served as a third option. But sadly, they went right into tag teams after that, and that became more simplified power creep again. So it's interesting. I learned from that stuff, and I was like, I don't want to go down that route. And so, you know, I'm always, as a designer, I'm thinking, why do we go back to 2010? Why do people go back to 2006? And it really is a less is more design philosophy. And ironically, less is more and more is less. So what I mean by that is 3 option slots, but you notice that, like on that Rayquaza, it wasn't just like, oh, attach 1 energy, do like 80 damage. If you're doing 1 energy for 80, you often have to work for that. We're talking like Platinum Rampardos, a stage 2 from a fossil line. You know, that you're working for that, and even then Rampardos had a downside if you knocked out for 1 for 80. But now that's very common in modern Pokemon. It's just like 1 energy for 80 or high damage, no consequence. Don't do that. You know, that's what I was learning, is that over time really is less is more. So rather than just being a simple attach 1 or 2 energy, do a ton of damage for a ton of your cards, it needs to be like attach energy, if you meet certain criteria, do a lot of damage. If you combine this Pokemon with this Pokemon, now you're doing a lot of damage. And so that's kind of what, you know, I've been pushing for Highlander is if something looks broken, oftentimes it's because that player worked for it. They found some crazy combo. It's not just like, bam, play down, instant win. Now, of course, that's an exaggeration. Pokemon's never really had that, but... Oh, yeah, you gotcha. Oh yeah, gotcha. Well, I needed to... Another thing, what I meant by more is less, too. So less is more in terms of working for your damage. That, because what you do there is you prevent a bottlenecked power creep. By making Pokemon all have distinct criteria for, like, winning the game, that broadens... That makes a tree of different strategies. And rather than simplifying, saying who does the most damage for the least amount of energy, that just becomes an arms race. You know, so you need to do a less is more thing. And what I mean by more is less is people ask, well, if 3 option slots are really good for Pokemon, why not 4? Well, first off, 4 is when you start really cramming in and there's just really not enough text on the card. But also, you know, they've tried in the past with cards that have like 4 option slots, and it just, in order to save space, they become very, very simple, which isn't a problem for like I use X-Cloud from Gen 3. There's an X-Cloud that has 4 option slots, but a lot of his attacks are just like 1 colorless, 2 colors, 3 colors for X amount of damage. One of them like confuses the opponent. So if Pokemon went down that path, then ironically, more is less. Yeah, you have more options, but the options aren't as diverse. And so 3 really is that sweet spot for Pokemon. And so that's what Highlander goes off of, is, you know, 3 option slots for every fully evolved Pokemon. Oh, good rocket. Yeah, Rocket's Mewtwo's cool. Yeah, he really is innovative. Rocket's Mewtwo did push that agenda, because I remember seeing I'm gonna pull it up, the exact X-Cloud, because when I saw this X-Cloud I had the same reaction, but now for 4 option slots. Yeah, Rocket's Mewtwo pushed an agenda. There he is. Again, awesome card, but look at, like, just overall, they're pretty simple. And like Hyper Voice, Thunderous Roar, like, again, really cool card. But if Pokemon went down this path, they just wouldn't have a lot of unique text. So.
The bomb is nearly reaching the point.
Yeah, we had there can be, like, if the text gets so big, they have to compromise in some ways. Oh yeah, I could see you making that format, Lasagna. The only thing I would always just like, now I know years ago you made that joke format, which was like very avant-garde, the one where Falco had a bazillion recovery frames on down air. But I think like just like saying what I've experienced in Highlander, if you make it for the agenda of pushing the potential of a game like Melee or Pokemon, I think people would be more interested to play that. And so I think you'd be on the right track if that's your intent, rather than like, this is funny, avant-garde, I hate Falco. Like, if it's actually like you said, like, oh, items on different stages. Yeah, I mean, like, when we played the other night, and I was Yoshi on Corneria, and Brinstar Depths, and Yoshi's Island, did you notice how different Yoshi's Down B is because of the trajectory of the stages? Because a lot of those were slanted, Yoshi's Down B could be like a surprise reversal now. But if it's on like a flat, like, neutral stage, it's, you know, it overall tends to be very reactable. So yeah, well, I would love to play Melee with items on. P plus with items on is good too. The fact that you can wave dash into items and grab them in P plus is really good. I never beat Event 51 with Pichu. Like, growing up, I only beat it, yeah, with Jigglypuff. You know, to beat all the events. Yeah, it's a good event. Good stab. Oh, there you go, Lasagna. Yeah, Melee's ledges are pretty good. Pretty good overall. It's crazy that a modern conversation you can still have is if people like are talking about Melee's ledges, like Melee players, like, oh my gosh, like, ledge is really good, and then you tell them about what PM did 10 years ago, where you can only, you know, it has like ledge invincibility decay. They're like, whoa, you know, just like their eyes open up, and they're already, you can tell they're already brainstorming, and they'll just tell you like, wait, why doesn't Melee have that? You're like, uh-oh. I was like, well, PM also froze Pokemon Stadium 10 years ago. Now I know Lasagna likes unfrozen Stadium, but they also got rid of wobbling 10 years ago. It is just funny that as time goes on, some of those Melee players mocked PM for being a mod, but Melee's pretty modded nowadays. What's that meme about, like, it's the sad Doge, and now the sad Doge is like, I don't have UCF 7.5583, my ledge dashing doesn't work, blah 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 blah. And then like the big giant Doge is like, let's turn on the TV and play Melee. You know, just like Oh yeah, no, it's always been my favorite competitive Smash, and you know what really hurt PM? I know people talk about VG Bootcamp dropping it. That was big. PM, the devs stopping in late 2015, early 2016. That era was, you know, in 2016 that was big, and then also it was the Melee clout chasers. It was the ones that joined Melee for the reasons of wanting to be someone. And so they wanted to like insecurely like make fun of people playing PM. They're like, I play where the money is. Why are you playing a mod? Again, very ironic because you know those are some of the same players that complain about Melee not being modded now. And then they hear stuff like, wait, PM got rid of wobbling before Melee UCF rules? Like, yeah. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, PM's great. And that's the funny part, is that PM, I know a lot of people that just played PM casually, and to them it was like one of their favorite Smash games. I loved hearing that. I loved hearing my own high school friends say, they would ask me, Pete, have you played Project M? And I'm like, oh yeah. And they're like, oh my gosh, like I played it with my friends. And so I had a friend that mained Ness his whole life. Like I've known him since, I knew him since, oh gosh, I'm backtracking here. I knew him before Melee came out. So when Smash 64 came out, and he was always a big Ness player throughout every game. And so late in like first year of college, like late high school, college, he was like, Pete, have you played PM? And I was like, oh yeah. And he didn't know I was playing tournaments. And he was like, they buffed Ness. Oh my gosh, PK Flash is so fast, you know, stuff like that. Like, I heard that, and then one of my coworkers at the movie theater in 2013 to 2015, she plays Zelda in every game. And so she also, completely different, she doesn't know this guy as far as I know, but she also brought up like, oh, I love PM. They buffed Zelda, or like, I love what they did with Zelda in that game. It's a lot of fun. It's like, wow, I'm hearing this conversation more than once. Or like Lasagna knows my own friends, like they love playing with items on in PM. So it really is trickle down balancing. Like, oh yeah, let's balance P plus around, you know, competitive data, but then it turns out people that play casually love that game. Yeah, it's just like overall. Yeah, the Mad Catz controller. I mean, really, the sad part is like, and that's the other joke, is that PM is what, you know, they say PM is what Brawl should have been. That's basically Sakurai if Sakurai wasn't stubborn. You know, he saw what Melee was with its movement, and he just gutted all those mechanics. Again, I respect Sakurai as a designer. I do think a little bit of that was just some... I think he got too fearful about it. He was too scared about little Timmy getting pub stomped by his older brother and his friends at the sleepover. It's like, well... You can take out wave dashing, but his older brother's probably still going to do pretty well if he knows fundamentals. Oh, it's all good, man. We're all just about playing the game.
Prepare to compete in 30 seconds.
Oh, that's all right. I like, I mean, yeah, PM. I mean, I like Smash 4. There's no Smash game I hate. You know, it's like from 64 to Ultimate, and I always include PM in there. Yeah, I think they're all fine.
Competition begins.
Now, obviously, you know, my friend Cameron made a good point, and the reason he doesn't play many Smash games competitively besides 64 is because to him, you know, he said Brawl to Ultimate, they all feel very similar. And that is on purpose. Sakurai, again, gutted the Melee physics, and Ultimate still runs off of that Brawl, you know, that Brawl fighting engine. It's a lot, you know, less hit stun. Now, there's more hit stun compared to Brawl, but, you know, Ultimate still runs off of that kind of, like, gutted design philosophy. I don't mean gutted to undermine good players. I just literally mean, like, he took out the hit stun and, like, wave dashing and stuff. And again, my first competitive Smash was Brawl. You know, I started with 64, but I didn't start competing in like tournaments and like the competitive scene until Brawl. I'm not counting tournament mode with your friends at a sleepover. But yeah, so Brawl was my first competitive Smash, and I'm glad it was. It really pushed me to hone like patience and like, because there's no combos, so you just keep poking with hitboxes. And Lasagna will tell you it's definitely incorporated a lot into my play. To the point, some people are like, they're really thrown off, I guess, by my like, just the way I play in terms of like, they'll throw a bunch of stuff out and it doesn't phase me. I think some people bank off of impatience. And so because I'm so, again, I started with Brawl going into Street Fighter. I was like, oh, I've played T-Hawk versus Ryu so many times, like walk and block, you know, try to find an opening, and the second someone messes up, try to be ready for a punish, you know, something like that. Brawl Meta Knight is to this day the most over-dominant Smash character. You know, I don't use the term cancer. It's funny when people argue about like Bayonetta. I think you know it is interesting when the generational gap, where people be like, oh, Bayonetta is way worse, but then you might find out that they didn't play Brawl, or they might have like skimmed over it, and so you really start like explaining to them all the properties Meta Knight had: multiple jumps, transcendent sword properties, you know, all of his like, so many of his moves edge guarded the opponents, like no matter the matchup. He had no hard character matchup. The only one that was considered even was like Pikachu. Brawl Meta Knight. Now see, I liked playing against Brawl Meta Knight, so I think he played a part of that, like really honing like patience and stuff too. Yeah, that's a good question. I think, you know, it is good to ask yourself where does your fundamentals come from, but you could start fundamentals in many different ways. Like here, I'll tell you this: I think your punish game's really good, and so even back then during, you know, the Pew Pew weeklies and monthlies, I think you had a good punish game, and I think, and you can attest to this. You know how you brought up how Sax reminds you of a younger you? You did a really good job at, like, you know, when people played against you, you know, it could feel like someone's wrestling a pig in the mud. Imagine your Nest running around taunting, and they're like, come here, and they're trying to get you, but because you're wrestling a pig in the mud, they're also gonna get dirty, and they're like, they have to keep chasing you down. It's hard to hold you down. And so I think from there, you started to improve upon, like, oh, the second they slip up, I can get a ton of damage. So that could be a way to develop fundamentals, is you're improving, like, what are ways that I can look for my opponent messing up over and over, you know? Remember old Michael? How if you were taunting, quote unquote, that means I'm not getting you. So when you two played for the first time, it was one of the funniest like sets of games I've ever seen in my life. Because before you even came in, if someone taunted Michael, like his face would change to this, and like he's like biting his lip and stuff, and like his Mario is running at you. Because again, to him, he's like, if you're taunting, that means I'm not hitting you. And so yeah, it's very interesting to see those interactions. But see, now Michael knows you so well that when you taunt, he knows that's like part of your brand, you know? And he'll laugh, you know? Like the Nest taunt cancel and stuff. But think of how many people don't know your brand with that kind of affiliation, and they take the taunts personal. To me, that's hilarious. I'm a big advocate of taunts. I don't do it unless I get that 500 in single player, but I don't care if other people taunt. I know that's what makes it so interesting, is there was that analogy of early Lasagna really was like wrestling a pig in the mud. But someone like me, again, not just coming from competitive Brawl, but you know, I just don't get angry. And so to me, I just saw it as a fun challenge. That's me seeing like pig wrestling as a sport, not like, ugh, I'm getting all muddy. I'm like, all right, this is the game. Let's play. Let's see what I can do in this terrain. Or to me, it's also about, can I get the pig out of the barn? Yeah, rather than why am I playing the pigs game? To me, I'm thinking, are there certain, can I drop a Big Mac? You know, can I drop a large fry and the pig runs over there? Yeah. Well, okay, see, I'm thinking of like P+ taunt canceling, like Sonic and Ness. Kind of like at Cameron's party last week. Cameron was like, he was playing me, Fox vs. Yoshi, and in the middle of the game, he's like, oh, my taunts aren't BMs, by the way. I was like, what do you mean BM? And he's like, oh, bad manners. I was like, oh, Cameron, bro. First off, I don't mind taunts, but second off, I play against Lasagna. It's literally just engraved in my brain. I'm so used to like taunt cancels.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah, that's funny. That's the perfect Lasagna response. Me versus Lasagna. Are you gonna wrestle the pig in the mud? Well, I'm gonna put this Big Mac over here and see if the pig comes to eat the Big Mac. But to you, you're gonna try to go eat the Big Mac, and let's say it's like brawl food. You'll heal from it, and then you run back to the mud. You know, but it's so funny how many people you got to have to pig wrestle, you know, because they brushed you off. They're like, oh, you're a joke. Oh, he's the clown of the group. You know, we're talking 2014, 2015. And they're already at a disadvantage. Underestimating someone already puts that person at an advantage. So, I mean, good on you for taking advantage of that. You know, okay. Okay, so you know Trevor. You know how Trevor likes to instigate and stuff. I'm gonna share this this observation my mom's made about me and Trevor's friendship. It's her words. My mom has said, it's just relating to how me and Michael play against you, Lasagna. In a sense, you know, Trevor likes to instigate, cause oil fires. You know, you've heard the stuff he'll say. He'll be like, "Oh yeah, orange peel is my favorite part of the orange," and he tries to get people to eat it. And my mom said, she's like, Trevor is very lucky to have a friend like you. And I was like, "Oh, what do you mean?" She goes, "You don't take things personal, and you're very patient." I was like, "Oh." And then, you know, when Trevor says stuff like, "I have enemies," my mom's like, "Oh." Yeah. She's like, you know, there's not as many people in the world that might not take it personally or with around Trevor. And so, you know, think about like how long we've been friends, Lasagna, and the way you play Super Smash Brothers. Me and Michael don't mind. In fact, we're trying to improve, and we find your playstyle like I mean, it's distinct, you know. And so to us, we're like, oh, okay, we value PvP, and so we're like, you know, you're a form of PvP. We're trying to adjust accordingly. We're not getting our egos involved, saying, oh, cheesy stuff, whatever, luck. It's like, no, you're outplaying us in certain matches and stuff like that. So it's interesting to see how, you know, when people ask like, how do friendships stick around? I think sometimes it really does come down to like, you don't bring your insecurities to the table. You know, if you have insecurities, you're not using them to lash out at others. I mean, look at Dale. You know, Dale loses to... I saw Dale... There's like a troll clip of Dale losing Mario Kart, and he was already making fun of the person getting in first, and he was saying really bad stuff. And it's just like, Dale, this is how you not make friends, but I'm not surprised. Yeah. Yeah, I think the mental game is very important. I mean, look at every Tuesday lately. Look how many people rage quit on unranked versus me because I don't give them what they want. It's so funny. Like, you know, I don't run into their hitboxes, and so they get really mad. They'll stay back and fire a lot of lasers as like Fox or Falco, which is fine. That's the thing. I'm fine if they play like that. But then if that doesn't work, they just rage quit. But like when we played the other night, you know, you first started out with like stay back, do a few lasers, and the second I threw an egg, you would, oh, I don't know, use a reflector. Did you know that Fox had that? And so you already were playing a step ahead of what my game plan is against people that try to bait out impatience. But rather than you baiting out my impatience, you knew I'm not impatient. You were just already trying to plot my counter plan to stuff like that. Because, you know, if Yoshi throws an egg on the ground, that's a lot of recovery frames on average. So if you can bait that out or reflect an egg for like 16%, that's pretty good. Well, what's funny is I didn't name it Pokemon Highlander because of magic. Our good friend Gage, he actually thought I named it because of Magic's Highlander format. No, I named it because in 2015 I got into competitive TF2, and one of TF2's biggest competitive formats is called Highlander, where there's one of each class, so it's 9v9, one of each class. And so, you know, I was already like designing individual Pokemon. And I was like, yeah, TF2 Highlander. I like the way that, or Pokemon Highlander. I like the way that TF2 Highlander is made, like as a competitive game. And so I just kind of incorporated that. You know, one of each Pokemon fully evolved, which is already like stemming from like the origins of how it started in the first place when I was like young. I mean, Lasagna knows I could talk about TF2 Highlander for the rest of my life easily. And there's just something cool about you can only have one of each character. And so how are you as the only Pyro gonna push your strengths and cover your one engineer's weaknesses or your one medic's weaknesses? So thank you. Yeah, reflected egg is a lot of damage. It's good. You can cape the eggs.
Mission begins in 30 seconds. Mission begins in 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Defend.com.
So I play a Neo Daedalus with a Mermail Atlantean engine. It's actually been my main deck since 2011 when I got back into competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Because I played a Game Boy Advanced World Championship 2008 game, and it had the Fury of the Deep structure deck. And I read Neo Daedalus's effect. I was like, wow, this is amazing. I was like, all right, I'm gonna take what I've learned in Pokemon TCG, go back into Yu-Gi-Oh! And only play this as my main deck. And so yeah, ever since I've been playing that. And you know, it's really cool to see all the different cards that have worked really well with him. Obviously, yeah, Mermails and Atlanteans are very strong with Neo Daedalus. Lately I've been playing, you know, a lot of the new Yumi cards like Ocean Dragonlord Karyushin, Mega Fortress Whale, and Electric Jellyfish, so yeah, they've been very strong too, just like overall. Ooh, I gotta gotta be careful. Yeah, I think the Yu-Gi-Oh video games do a good job at getting people into Yu-Gi-Oh and stuff. I don't collect that much anymore. I can't, you know, it's been years since I bought like a pack. The only thing I collect in Yu-Gi-Oh now is making my main deck physical. But other than that, I'm not like buying new sets and stuff. But yeah, we have a Yu-Gi-Oh channel in the Discord, and we have quite a few players. You'll find we have some very talented players. They like discussing like modern Yu-Gi-Oh, but also retro formats too.
Additional time.
Oh yeah, that's a really good card. Yeah, Kashira Fenrir. Yeah, we were just talking about that today, how that card's probably going to stay pretty expensive for at least a year. Like, throughout 2024, I see that card staying high in price. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've mainly stayed digital since I got back into Yu-Gi-Oh! It really is push Neo Daedalus as the deck, and just buy the cards to modernize, like buy the physical cards if I go to a tournament. So, he's pretty good. I don't mind him being in the format at all. I just have to, you know, I've been trying to develop counter strategies. Very fast level 7, definitely has very strong destruction effects, so I have to be careful and stuff. Kashira is kind of, it's one of the big poster boy archetypes right now, and so one thing, I mean, we brought this up earlier, one thing Konami doesn't, you know, a pattern of Konami is that whatever the big poster archetype is, they often, you know, you can tell they don't want to ban a lot of things, because it might, you know, to them they might feel like that's a statement of like, oh, we might have overextended, and also product, you know, like, you know, the fact that Kashira is still in packs, people are pulling it. If they just banned that Kashira Fenrir, if they just banned it, then that would undermine the value of the print. No, it's cool to push the Egyptian god cards for sure. You know, I'm sure you've played some barrier statues. You know, Pokemon has had a similar discourse problem about like stun or like defensive cards, and usually it just comes from new players that they might be so used to a hyper aggressive format that if like more defensive like decks are involved or control decks, they start raging on Twitter. And thankfully usually the older players call them out and they're like, actually, you know, people will say, it's a sign of a healthier format if more play styles are abundant. And so in Yu-Gi-Oh, a similar thing is people complaining about like stun and stuff like that. But you need to look at like, why is stun so good? Well, if you don't stun the opponent, they might just take you out in the first turn. I mean, my deck can OTK. You know, that's kind of like just a big common trait in modern Yu-Gi-Oh is decks being pretty able to OTK, even if their deck isn't OTK centric. So, you know, the stun counterplay is very big. Yeah. Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh's big. I mean, have you seen those videos on YouTube? Like the Magic the Gathering, the big, there's like a big Magic the Gathering YouTube channel where they get Magic players to try to like give their perspective on Yu-Gi-Oh or Pokemon cards. And I saw one about, they were showing Magic players a bunch of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. And, you know, to that, they were giving their opinions on if they think it's like good, neutral, or bad. And one of the first questions a Magic player asked, like it hit them. It was like the second card in. It hit the Magic player like, wait, what's the average turn count of a Yu-Gi-Oh duel? And they're like, oh, a duel can end on turn 2 or 3. And they're like, 2 or 3? Because, you know, you play Magic and the average turn count is way, way, way higher. And so when after that guy asked the question, complete rework in his mind of like trying to like place his judgment on cards' power levels in the current meta. Yeah, big 3 for sure. I have a Magic EDH deck, but yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh Standard. I don't have Pokemon Standard right now. After COVID, I like really just went all for Highlander, but obviously, you know, I have a lot of friends that play Standard still, so I keep in touch with how that's been going. It probably was. They got the video I'm talking about. One of the judges was from Germany, and they were looking at, there's like a Yu-Gi-Oh hand trap. They did show like Winged Dragon of Ra, and it was, you know, it was very interesting to see their interpretations of it. Oh wow. Wow, yeah, that's a good inheritance. I'm sorry he passed away. I wonder what, yeah, it's crazy how much value can be placed in a trading card. Pokemon, Magic, or Yu-Gi-Oh! Yeah, EDH is a cool format. I mean, it is, you know, it is a Magic Highlander format, so you can only run one of each card. I like that it's unlimited. I mean, Pokemon Highlander is unlimited. We have a ban list, or else it would be like so many people would run like Gust of Wind over and over. But yeah, I like that Magic. It literally is, EDH is like, oh, you build an EDH deck and you can have that ready to go. Because Magic is so universal across the country, across the world. And I can definitely attest that in the United States, basically every big city has so many stores in their metro area that will have Magic the Gathering. And as a Pokemon player, basically every single store we went to that sold cards would have Magic. So it's almost like speaking a universal language if you have Magic EDH on you. shot. You can share it in terms of like sharing your idea. I can't guarantee people will play it. I just mean that out of like, you know, people might share something, but you know, just kind of like leveling expectations. Because we only get together about like once a month just to play online a little bit. But I mean, you can share the idea. Yeah, I don't know how many people you could get playing it right now, just from the fact of like how many we don't have like a ton of people that are actively talking about Yu-Gi-Oh right now, but yeah, you're down to share like Yu-Gi-Oh ideas. You can share like what you like about Yu-Gi-Oh and how it influenced that format for you. Yeah, I mean, we're all about we love talking about game design. That's a big thing here, so yeah, it's good. Ooh, good mindset. Oh, it's all good. Thanks for tuning in and have a good night. Oh, hey.
Mission ends in 10 seconds.
Push up 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Actually, I think it was Buff Banner.
Mission begins in 30 seconds. Mission begins in 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get to the car!
Nice.
moving out. We must push little car.
Nice. I will be right back.
Prepare to compete in 30 seconds. Prepare to compete in 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mission begins in 60 seconds. Mission begins in 30 seconds. Mission begins in 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The bomb is nearing a checkpoint.
shot. Double shot. chain stab.
Thanks, mate.
Those are good grenades.
Appreciate it. Thanks, mate.
Alright, this will be my last one for tonight. Dang, that was a good scout pick on the wall there. Like that player turned around. Oh yeah, there's a spot here. True. Sometimes yeah, it could be like here. There are areas of this map that yeah, you could forget are there. But it's cool how many different areas there are for sure. For different flanks, and I mean that was a safe spot there against a pyro air blast off the map. You are not dead. You're very much alive. I mean, unless you're like channeling a spiritual message. What's going on here, Kerberos, bro? Are you undead? Where were you doing Halloween? That would have been crazy. That's alright. Uh-oh. Well, I think you're alive, so that's good. That was a good kill. Yeah, they had good control of that spiral staircase there. Nice. Alright, we'll do offense and we'll call it a night. So it's the last round.
Mission begins in 60 seconds. Mission begins in 30 seconds. Mission begins in 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2,
Yeah, I love that the train can kill you. If you get in front of it. It's great. If it's morning for you, yeah. I drank all my. Actually, hold on, Kerberos, bro. I think you're onto something. Let me check. If I die, in the game. Okay, I still got some left. Hey. I tried this, the premium instant dark roast from Starbucks. I actually like their instant coffee. Now, I do like brewed coffee more than instant, but I've never hated instant. In fact, I used to drink a lot more instant than brewed. It's pretty good. For like nights like this, you know, I do intermittent fasting. Like nights where I do like intermittent fasting, it's very handy. So, yeah, cheers. Okay. Santé. Okay. Yeah, exactly. I have a bit more. There you go. I know Starbucks is known as like the poster boy of like you're kind of overpaying for coffee because of the brand. I don't hate it, but I will say their instant coffee is great overall. I've yet to have bad instant coffee from them. So, but yeah, instant coffee is very helpful when I already put the pot in the dishwasher, and so I can just boil water and then make instant coffee at night. Nice. All right, so that'll be it for tonight. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. It's a lot of fun. I will be back tomorrow at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time for Street Fighter 6 and Metroid Prime Hunters. This weekend will be a big Pokemon Highlander update, so stay tuned for that. Again, thanks for tuning in, and Kerberos Bro, once again, the final sip of coffee. Cheers. Drive safe out there, snow, sleet, hail. Keep it slow. Be safe. You know, it's crazy drivers out there. Stay aware. So, all right, well, have a good one. Good night.